Good morning. Today is Wednesday, the 30th of January, 2013. Here's the news for Panama for today. The La Prensa newspaper has got their teeth into this bone about this Ciudad Marina, or the marine city. It's a project by a company called Maritime City SA to build a new marina residential tower project next to the Amador Causeway. Now, the La Prensa newspaper is just all over it. I mean, they did like 3 or 4 articles about it today, and they insist on towers in the Marine Causeway. The government says the La Prensa is manipulating information. Now they're saying the Cinta Costera, the third phase of the coastal strip, has a new destination. So they're tying all this together, that the reason for doing the coastal strip was because of this project. So it's all, large amounts of evil as far as they're concerned. The La Prensa newspaper is a Panamanista newspaper, and they're just anti Martinelli, and they just go after him every chance they get. But they're having a lot of fun with this Marine City thing. Okay. Over to the Panama America. Now, there's about 150 of these Metro bus drivers who say they're going to go on strike tonight at 9 p.m. There's only 150 of these bus drivers that want to go on strike. There's like 1,200 buses, and most of the buses have 3 drivers because they work 3 shifts. So there's like 3,000 drivers out there or more, but there's only 150 of these guys. So they're a minority, and in reality, they're a small group of people that are trying to form a union within the bus drivers, and they're trying to get more money for themselves and supposedly for all the rest of the bus drivers. Well, in reality, this strike that they're calling for is illegal. I mean, today, every minister, the Minister of Labor, government, there was just a chain of ministers and administrators from like the Transportation Authority that all came out and said, basically, this strike is illegal. If they go on strike, they will, whatever actions they take, if they take a bus, they're stealing a bus. If they sabotage a bus, then they're sabotaging a bus. If they don't go to work, then they'll be fired. And if necessary, the government and the company will do whatever is necessary to guarantee the transportation for the public. In other words, hey, bus drivers, don't think about it. Don't even try pulling that crap off, because it's not going to fly for 2 minutes. So anyway, that's where we're at right now. A threat of a strike on one hand, and the other side saying, bring it on, Sparky. So let's see what happens. Anyway, that's supposed to happen at 9 o'clock tonight. I don't think it will. All right, in the Estrella, surprisingly, the president of the Supreme Court, Alejandro Moncada Luna, had a meeting yesterday with all of the people that are protesting against this parking lot up at the Supreme Court building, and they decided to shit can the project. They're not going to build the parking lot at the Supreme Court. I'm disappointed because I have to go up there relatively frequently, and every time I go there, there's no place to park. I really don't care if they build the parking lot. I would just like for them to come up with some kind of a solution. What I think they should do is find some other area that's already an open area and paved, fence it in, make it secure. You go in there, park your car, then they've got a shuttle bus that'll run you up the hill to the courthouse. I don't really care how they come up with a solution, but in reality, they need to come up with some kind of a solution to create parking. But chalk that up as a victory for the environmentalists. There are now 20 more trees in the world that are happy. Okay, in the Critica. Now, they have, the government of Panama has this program for low-cost housing. If you buy a house, it was up until $35,000, these small little neighborhood cookie-cutter houses, that you could buy those with no interest. In other words, the government would subsidize the financing of the mortgage, and you could buy your house, get a mortgage, and pay zero interest on the mortgage. The government would pick up the interest and the financing, and with either the government-owned banks like the Caja de Oros or the Banco Nacional or whatever. Well, they increased that yesterday. The cabinet increased that yesterday from 35,000 to 40,000. So there's more and more people that are buying their own homes, and this allows them to get into a small starter home with I think it's pretty much almost no money down and no interest. So it's a way for you to be able to pay for a relatively inexpensive house. Okay, in Telemetro. Now there was basically a drive-by shooting, 2 cars going down the road, opened fire, killed a guy. This happened right there in Juan Diaz, right near where the soccer stadium is, and a guy got killed. He was from Cologne, and the only thing I saw in the news this morning was the cleanup. That car was there and it was just blasted full of holes, and one guy died. And this story is talking about how they pulled the one guy that had been shot out of the car, threw him in a car, took him in another car, eventually got him to the hospital, but he was dead. So, those kinds of things occur with regularity. There's about 2 to 3 murders a day in Panama. If you do the math and do the numbers, it's, there's a lot of murders. And thankfully, most of those go right by the expat community here in Panama. Okay, the transit police and the transit authority went on the news this morning, and they talked about what they're going to be doing during Carnival. They're going to be focusing on drunk drivers, speeding, not having a valid driver's license, and expired license plates. So if they stop you and you don't have a valid license plate and you don't have a valid driver's license, they'll give you the tickets and they're going to tow your vehicle, because if there's nobody there that can drive it, and it's not supposed to be on the road anyway, they're just doing that. And then, of course, drunk drivers and speeding and all that stuff. They've already handed out almost 10,000 speeding tickets so far this year. So they're going to be doing those things. So when you're driving, if you're driving especially during Carnival, you're going to see a cop every 30 feet during Carnival. So just be aware of that. And then here in the Siglo, when you open up the Siglo, man, it was just like, shot guy, dead guy, drug bust, shot guy, dead guy. It's just like one after the other. Lots of, and here was just another one, they busted a guy in Cologne, another, and it's always, you get a bunch of small bags of weed, a bunch of small things of coke, and a gun. And these are just local drug dealers at the street level. So they took one guy off the streets in Cologne, and as soon as he went into prison, then his competitors just instantly filled the vacuum. So anyway, okay, in the Mediario, the Minister of Education is having these fairs, and they're announcing these things that every day they're basically doing a fair with a company. And these companies are trying to hire people. They can't get them. So there's one on the 29th, on the 30th, and they organize these things at the Ministry of Labor. The Ministry of Labor is basically becoming a clearinghouse for people that want to get jobs, and employers that are begging for employees. And they're doing job fairs. The bottom line hasn't changed. There are more jobs than people to fill them. And the last number I heard was 60,000 jobs are going unfilled. So, that's got to have some kind of an impact on the economy, and the companies are just going crazy trying to hire people. Okay, one last thing here in the Dia Dia. They did an operation in the neighborhood of the 24 de Diciembre, which is out past the airport. And they, in a neighborhood, they go and do these sweep ops, and they round everybody up and they check everybody's IDs, and then they arrest the people that are wanted or doing something wrong. And in this one, they arrested 11 people. Now, just over the weekend, I had somebody in my car, and I was taking them to drop them off in somewhere in Veracruz. And so I said, hey, how's the neighborhood around here? And they're like, well, it was kind of dangerous, but then the cops came in and they did a sweep, and they took all the bad guys away, and it's been cool ever since. So, all right. These sweep ops, believe it or not, are very popular with the people. They're probably not so popular with the bad guys, but with the people who live in these neighborhoods, they like it when the cops do this stuff, because they take the bad guys out of their hair and make them go away. Okay, that's it. I'm done. Today is Wednesday, the 30th of January, 2013. Can you believe it? The January is almost over already. Thanks for watching, and have a great day. Bye.